Hello, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today we are talking about after Valentine's Day blues, emotional affairs. Some individuals have known for quite some time that there are some ungodly conversations, connections, what have you, over the internet. And for some of you all, you have been told to stand down, to be quiet, to wait on the Lord. I know that it is hard. I know that it can be quite difficult, but it is what it is. We have those who are self absorbed, self centered in these last days. We have those who refuse to do what is right, no matter how much you argue or you politely sit down and have what you think is a mature conversation. These people are determined to rebel. These people are determined to do what they want, when they want, how they want. And so today we are exposing the foolishness. You are not alone. I'm validating many of you all who suspect or who simply know that a partner or spouse or someone who you think just might be a future mate is up to no good. Okay? So the narcissist, I want to go back to the selfish individual, self-centered, has the personality disorder. A holiday like Valentine's Day or a birthday or Christmas or what have you, they like to showboat a bit in front of individuals, okay? That they want to impress. I love my wife so much. I love my husband. This is what I bought him. Look, 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 right? And then when there is no audience, there is no grandiose event. There is no gift that just blows all the other ones out the water. Um, those that feel a bit guilty about what they do, they just might do this sort of thing. Okay. But good times don't last for long, do they? And so what goes up comes down quite quickly because we all go back into our routines. We are not supply for those who are, once again, the narcissist type. And so here he or she is going off into feeding the emotional affair. Okay. There are those who do this, whether they're narcissists or not. They're looking for a connection with someone that they're not getting at home, or they could very well be getting plenty at home, but it's just not enough. So I want to go to Bible because we got some believers who they don't read their Bibles, they don't pray like they should. They claim to be children of light, but yet they're doing this sort of thing. They're having an emotional affair. Okay. Starting off with 1 Corinthians 7, 1 through 40. Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Okay? Very simple. We don't have to go through the text to figure out that you simply don't do that. So the Christian who makes up excuses, who's wayward, backslider, rebellious against the one true God for any number of reasons, doesn't think that he or she is doing anything wrong because, well, see, Bible says um, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. And I'm not touching a woman. No, you're not physically touching her, but you're touching her heart. We got to go there today. You're touching her heart. Emotional Affairs, an article in Focus on the Family by Debbie Sherry. Okay. Let me give you an example here from her article. Jake has been married to Amber for 4 years and feels good about how their relationship is going, except for their lack of time together. He admits his job is keeping him away, but he wants the promotion that's coming up. So what's he doing? He's spending long hours and late nights, and he's working with his co-worker, okay, Mandy. She's very complimentary. She's encouraging, and she's a bit flirtatious, and Jake has found himself doing the same things, okay? Complimenting her, flirting back, and inviting her to have lunch with him. Okay? Now, you know he's already in trouble. Remember, Jake has been married for 4 years. When Jake told Amber about having lunch with Mandy, of course Amber would get mad, right? And she's jealous. She didn't understand how good a friend Mandy was, so Jake decided it would be best not to tell his wife when he had lunch with Mandy. Surely, since they were just so-called friends, right? Their time together was innocent. Now, I'm telling you that this is the start of one exposing his or her heart, okay? Before he does what? Touch the woman, okay? So he wants to make excuses when he's approached or when eventually an individual, the partner who he's with, more specifically finds out. No, we're just friends. We're just friends. I'm telling you from personal experience. I've heard it. I've seen the movie. They have told me things like, "Oh, I just flirt. It's no big deal. Um, it's it's just a coffee, or it's just us talking about our children, whatever." I've heard so many things. I've been on this planet long enough. I've dated enough men, and I've also been married twice. Okay, currently in a marriage. It is not just anything. It always leads to something, okay? If that man allows it, okay? If he allows it. Some men are very strong. They stand up. They say, listen, I messed up um, just by flirting. I shouldn't have been doing that much. And so they shut that foolishness down. Other men, no. My wife made me mad. My girlfriend made me mad. I don't care. I'ma just do me. She's probably doing somebody anyway. And we already know. The one particular man told me most women are so loyal to the point where it's just crazy the things that they'll do for a man when they're in love for him, in love with him. And so he says, I tend to think that most men tend to be this way, you know, cheating and all of that. And there are, and of course, yes, we got women who cheat too, but a lot of men, they just can't seem to get it together when they are, of course, wayward, rebellious. They don't want to stay faithful to the one true God, so what makes you think they're going to stay faithful to you? Okay. 1 Corinthians 10:13, there hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful. There you go, right there. God is faithful. He shows us how faithful he is to us. But do we show how faithful we are to him or to those who we claim we love? Who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape. There is always a way to escape. Do not believe any man or any woman that says something like, I couldn't help myself, or this is what happened, and they got all these excuses. God always makes a way for a man to escape temptation. He didn't have to answer the email. He didn't have to text that woman back. He didn't have to go to lunch with her when she invited him. He didn't even have to go across the room and talk to her, but he did. Okay? He could have used all sorts of excuses to walk away from the situation, but he didn't. So, he's already in trouble with the one true God because God gave him, he gave him the opportunity to escape and he chose not to. So it's clear, right? It's clear. We're going to go over to emotional affairs and continue on with this story. So once again, we got Jake who told Amber about having lunch with Mandy. Amber got mad and jealous. She didn't understand how good a friend Mandy was, so Jake decided it would be best not to tell his wife. There is his problem right there. His way of escape is not to go to what? Lunch with the woman, you see. Opposite sex relationships. Is there anything wrong with having a close friend of the opposite sex after you're married? Someone answer that question. You can do that in the comment section. Those that are very confident, very strong, very much the type that has not been caught in this sort of trap, they don't have a problem with this. But there are those who have a long history of cheating, creeping, lying, and being sneaky. They cannot handle the opposite sex as a friend. Okay? While there may be no clear answer, there are compelling reasons to be cautious about opposite sex friendships, right? Cautious outside of your spouse's company. No matter how happy and secure your marriage, you should always, listen to this, you should always protect your relationship against temptation, deception, and potential affairs. I will tell you that there's been quite a few jobs that I had where there were more men than there were women. And if there wasn't some nice looking people in the audience, so to speak, There were plenty of nice looking people, but just because they're around doesn't mean that we need to start up these so-called friendly conversations to the point where now you're sitting down with the person and now you're going somewhere with the person, and then the next thing you know, you're in the bedroom with the person. You see, I was very guarded because I knew, having been hurt, having been used, having been abused, that I did not want to do that to someone. In the past player days, oh yeah, you don't have any problem doing certain things because you've been played. But when you really care about somebody and you really want what's best, and even if you don't care that much about them, the point is that, look, you got a God that you serve, Christian, or that you claim that you love so much and that you want to be faithful to. So maybe you don't particularly care for the person any longer that you're with, but at least respect the marital vows. At least draw near to the one true God and ask him to give you the strength to overcome. You see, we don't always like our partners or spouses, but that doesn't give us an excuse to go out there and start talking to people, or go out there on the internet and make connections with people that you know that if she sees those emails or those texts, she's going to freak out or he's going to go off. Okay? Most affairs begin as an innocent connection between two people. You may be brought together through work, church, or school. There it is right there. But if your guard isn't up and your boundaries aren't well established, a newly developing connection can quickly become entangled. Let me say that again for somebody. But if your guard isn't up and your boundaries aren't well established, a newly developing connection can quickly become entangled. As you spend time together, either face to face, through the computer, or by phone, you may find yourself gradually sucked into an emotional affair that can rip a marriage to shreds, even though the relationship never becomes physical. And how does the relationship, the marriage, end up being ripped up to shreds? Let me give you some examples, okay, right off the top of my head. First of all, okay, for some of you all, you know when you reached out to me, you said, what was he doing? He was flirting. Okay, he was flirting with someone, or he was having these deep conversations, and he wasn't bringing those conversations home to you. He wasn't flirting with you. Okay, his attention was somewhere else. Some of you others, you said that he always had a story, or he was telling lies. Okay, those of us who have gone through that, it always starts that way, with something to distract you from what they're really up to. The tool that was used in the emotional affair or cheating, computer or phone. Okay? So for the one who claims, oh no, it wasn't me sitting down with her having food, or me going over there and having deep conversations. We were all busy working, but the conversation you was having via the computer or phone though. Right? I mean, come on. This is foolishness when they come up with these silly little excuses. Okay? The damage begins when you find yourself sharing information, thoughts, or feelings. Notice, here it is, right here. There's that damage. You're sharing information about your wife, about your kids, and it's intimate type of things. It's things that other people don't need to know about. Your thoughts, your feelings about the person, right? Oh, you know what? I wish you were mine. I wish that I would have married you. I can't stand my situation right now. I know I moved too fast. Okay, you having these type of conversations with another woman or another man, and you think that that person in that household doesn't pick up on the fact that your mind is somewhere else when they're telling you something, and then you come back later and you're like, excuse me, what did you just tell me? Where was your mind? It could have been big information, big news, but the person, when their head is somewhere else, especially when they get older, they can't balance like they did back in their player days. And so things are happening right before their eyes, but their head is somewhere else. Their heart is somewhere else. And so they miss out on so much going on in the household because they're too busy carrying conversation with someone else. They're too busy wishing upon a star with somebody else. They're too busy, in some cases, laying down and actually sleeping and having sex, or allowing that person to touch them, or they're touching that individual through hugs or warm caresses or rubbing their back. Okay? So these thoughts and feelings that one has should be kept between one spouse, right? You and your spouse. This is an emotional betrayal that cuts into the heart of a marriage. How many times do we have to see, the shows and hear through the grapevine that this sort of stuff is going on with some people? And then some people say, well, it won't happen with to me. Well, if you're having these sorts of conversations at work or elsewhere, it's probably already going down. Okay? The damage worsens as you begin to distance yourself emotionally and physically from your spouse in lieu of time with your friend. So you don't have time to sit down and talk with your wife. You don't have time to sit down and comfort her during trials and tribulations, but you got time though to comfort somebody else via text or a computer, you see? Or at lunch somewhere or at the office or at the church. It doesn't matter where it's taking place. The point is that you got that emotional and physical time, right? To go somewhere else. I'm talking to some people while I'm talking to those who I'm validating them on the foolishness that's going on in your household while he or she is denying that it's not taking place. Okay? All right, now we're moving along. The Truth About Emotional Affairs by Monica Lewis. She says it might have started with a conversation over the internet or with a seemingly innocent friendship in the workplace. Once again, here's another person that's saying the same thing. This is how it starts. It's an emotional affair that happens inside that head. Unlike my spouse, this person really understands me. What can it hurt? I need a little excitement in my life. And so off they go. I like the pictures. Look at that. She's looking at the computer and she's not doing any work. If her husband was to come over there and walk right behind her or next to her, she'd be clicking off. Or if she's seen him approaching, she'd be clicking off and putting something else up on the screen. You see, because she don't want him to know what she's really looking at. How many times have we seen that over the course of our years, whether we were dating or in some type of serious commitment? Okay. They're always clicking off the screen. Back in the day, I want to tell you that I came from that long line of folks who we didn't have internet, okay? We didn't have the cell phones. We didn't have these iPads. We didn't have none of this stuff. But how we knew that somebody was up to no good was they would turn the ringer off and you just see the phone light up, okay? If they had one of those type of phones. Or the person would knock on the door. The other woman would just knock on the door while you're sitting there. Okay. Or you would see the person's car in front of the woman's house or the man's house. Okay. Um, and you would say, wait a minute, isn't that his ex's house? Or isn't that the friend of the friend who we heard through the grapevine he's cheating and creeping with? Okay. Or there would be the notes in the pocket. Uh, or it would be a card that was given. Okay, that's how we found out that there was something going on, whether it was an emotional or physical affair. These romances may seem harmless, perhaps even safe, alternatives to cheating on your spouse. The truth is, such relationships venture into dangerous territory. They may not initially lead to physical involvement, but they can still devastate marriages, okay? Oh, it's just her phone number. It's no big deal. But that phone number leads to conversation, and then that conversation leads to a meetup. And then the meetup ends up touching, kissing, and then somebody back in the day, there was a lot of folks ending up being pregnant through some of these so-called uh, friendships, which started as emotional affairs if you were in a marriage, and then ended up in physically cheating, and then somebody's pregnant, and now we got the wife, she may be pregnant, and the mistress. I mean, it was a lot of foolishness that was going on and continues to, because we see all sorts of talk shows and articles are still being written about this, and people are talking about stuff on social media and putting their husbands and wives and girlfriends and boyfriends and mistresses and everybody else on blast. So nothing's new under the sun. We want to go over to Bible again. And this, of course, is King James, BibleOnline.org. 1 Peter 3 says, likewise, ye husbands dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife. That's who he's supposed to be giving honor to, not to the girlfriend, not to the best friend, not to the ex from back in the day. Okay. And you got some men who boldly do this sort of thing. I love her more than I ever would love my wife. Well, why are you still with her then? Because he doesn't want to spend the money to get the divorce, because he knows that when all those emails and text messages and everything else is gathered up on him, he's not going to get those kids. You see, there's a whole lot that goes into this man who doesn't want to leave his wife. Okay. And that's why the third wheel, or the mistress, or whoever she is, or what have you, she's got to understand that there are many men that do not go on to be with um, them. And then there are those who do, but the relationships are rocky. Okay? Because once a player, for many men who are not about God's business, always a player. And that's the honest to God truth. Those that at some point had the praying grandmother, praying mother, maybe they wasn't sold out for the Lord, was keeping them is mama and daddy's prayers, or whoever praying for them. And of course, their willingness just to be faithful to their wives. Okay. So we got them too. But once again, this emotional affair, right? It shouldn't be taking place. Giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. Okay, your prayers do get hindered though when you're that wayward husband, when you are wayward with the Lord. A man can't seem to get a break with the Lord. Okay, there's always something coming up, something that is putting his stomach in knots, his head is hurting, he's got drama and trauma, he's going to alcohol or drugs or whatever else, trying to get some peace of mind because he knows what he did. Okay, he knows what he did, and he can thumb down, and he can have an attitude, and he can do any number of things. Okay, because I get those that come through, they really thumb down on my womanizer video. It's one I did years ago, because truth hurts, and they don't want to face the fact. And then some of these wives and girlfriends and whoever else, they will share these audio messages with these men, as well as women who cheat too, because I've got those. And you know, of course, the one who's busted doesn't want to agree. You think they're going to like something that they know they're guilty of? No way. No way. Okay, I want to take you to this article on Psychology Today by Wendy Lustbader. She has an MSW. Emotional affairs, why they hurt so much. One partner feels wounded, the other feels falsely accused, and there could be others. Okay. Because some of these people got some kind of personality disorder, and they've got their share of issues where sometimes you think it's just the one woman, and there's many women that they're trying to juggle all at the same time. And once again, these emotional affairs are the type where they haven't reached the point of having sex yet, but there's a strong move toward that sooner or later. A spouse unexpectedly walks into a room where her partner's email in progress is lit up on the screen. In a blink, a work email replaces the previous one. Why the abrupt switch? What is being hidden? The internet is making it possible for many to find long lost loves, right? Reconnect with the exes. I'm so sorry that I did this, that, and the other. Okay? You cheated on the ex, and you go back, and now you want to talk to the ex, and now you cheat on the current partner. I mean, really. Relationships discarded in the past that nevertheless hold elements of remembered magic. Sometimes these email exchanges are workplace relationships or casual acquaintances that have become something more. That is the key right there. I remember a man swore up and down that all his buddies were just buddies, right? Then we found out that the buddies were his lovers. Okay? Not one. Oh no, there were many. A relative many years ago had talked to me and told me that another relative was doing nothing more than being a cheat. Okay, that was it. So all that happy-go-lucky, he's such a nice person, she was putting him on blast and said, no, let me tell you the truth. Okay, and we're not talking about, oh, this was a 5-year romance, or they've been together for just what, 3 months. No, this woman had been with this man for over 30 some years, and he was acting as if he was still that young whippersnapper from way back when. And meanwhile, she was hurting inside. She really was. And I prayed. And I'm just going to tell you like this: God gives life and God takes it away, and He can take it away prematurely. That person's not here any longer. That person's not here any longer. And it's not about prayers that were prayed. It was about the fact that God had had enough. You see, because you take these marital vows. And I mean, He gives you chance after chance. I mean, the man was well up in age when he passed away, but He gives you chance after chance. And when you sit up there and you think that I'm paying her back because she said this and she did that and whatever else, you got to remember you're fighting with the one true God at the end of the day. Initially, for former lovers, the messages back and forth tend to be updates about what has transpired in the intervening years, right? Oh, it's just so harmless. We're just talking about, yeah, but you sure spent a lot of time talking to her. For workplace buddies and acquaintances, the messages amount to learning more about each other. That's what the plan is, especially with the narcissist. Just gleaning that information to see what kind of supply he can get from his future supply, because the old supply is outdated or older or not given or not as attractive or whatever else he comes up with, or she. Most of the time, this is as far as it goes, but in some instances, the email exchanges grow in frequency and intensity. The exchanges become more personal, turning toward intimate subjects such as what is missing from each person's marriage. A lot of that goes on. Which longings have gone unanswered and which hopes unfulfilled? Since there are no long-standing relationships without compromises and disappointments, this kind of discussion can evolve naturally enough. Both people feel deeply seen. This is what it's all about, right? Ooh, I want to connect with somebody who gets me. Okay, and the Lord is watching. This other person gets it. See, without the messiness of day-to-day life, the exchanges, notice, without the messiness of day-to-day life, see, caught up in the routine. Here comes somebody fresh, somebody new, somebody with a perspective, somebody who I can connect with. I wish I could connect with my wife. I wish I could connect with my husband, but oh well, and the conversations continue. The exchanges in this virtual relationship, virtual, it always starts somewhere virtually, right? Virtual relationship can gradually evolve into a special and private treat. This is when the messages start to feel like something that should be kept hidden. That's why I said that some of these emails, texts, phones, I think the most troubling thing is when they pass away and the woman or the man is going through his partner's items, because sooner or later, somebody's going to pass away, or somebody is going to leave something behind, or something's not going to get cut off, or somebody is going to find a way to find information, to know that all of this stuff was going on. And you may have been in denial about it, maybe you just knew, but it really hurts when the person is gone, they died, and you uncover what they've been doing. I got to let that fall on some people's ears. That's how you want to be remembered. You were sitting up there having these long conversations, these text messages, these emails with somebody who was not your wife or not your husband. And now the family's already grieving your death, and now they got to grieve the fact that you had an emotional affair, physical affair. God will deal accordingly. I highlighted this. I want some folks to take a look at this. Any expression of hurt or jealousy is taken as a challenge to the partner's right to have friends outside the marriage, to have personal freedom. When one approaches, this is what tends to take place. Oh, I can't have any friends? Because I've done it. I've done it in the past. I can't have any friends? I mean, what? I can't have no freedom? I mean, you can't put no lock on me like that. I mean, we're not married. I mean, why are you going to do this to me? Okay, but you're claiming it's just a friendship. To complain about such a valuable addition to the partner's life is to be accused of being controlling, petty, and insecure. That's what they say when we know the truth. Okay? We know the truth. Oh, you're being controlling, you're being petty, you're being insecure. No, I know what you've been up to. You've been talking to this woman for many years, or for many months, or for many days. I know what you've been up to. You've been over there chit-chatting with that man from back in the day, somebody who you had sex with, and you all are calling it friendship. But you're acting different when we're intimate. You're moving different even. Uh-oh. Questions about the nature of this relationship are met with defensive justifications that leave the other feeling worse. Okay? You walk away from the confrontation feeling worse. This is why the Lord will tell many who know something about their partner, don't say anything. But I want to do this. I want to say this. Do you really want to have that battle where you're going to be accused? It's bad enough that you found out the information, but now you're going to have that battle where you're going to be accused of being controlling, petty, and insecure. The Lord says, I need for you to place this burden on me. Okay? Instead of hoped for reassurance, there is a deep hurt. One friend told me he felt more alone than he ever had in his life when his wife angrily rebuffed his questions as insecurity. God tells us to wait, to be quiet for good reason. I'll tell you that back in the day when I did not listen to the Lord and I approached an individual about emotional as well as physical cheating, the individual cussed me up, down, and sideways as if it wasn't enough to find out the information. Now I'm being cursed at, and now I've got to deal with healing from that as well as everything else. Eventually, the relationship went south. But I'm just saying that if you act according to the will of the Lord, it won't be as painful. You'll still go through your share of issues because you can't believe this person betrayed you, but at least it won't be so much to deal with if you would just allow the Lord to give you the strength, give you the peace, and put that person's name in God's hands. They know what they're up to, and they think that because nothing is happening to them, like being struck down with lightning, that, oh, well, nobody knows anything and I'm getting away with something. And they're not getting away with anything. They are destroying their relationship with the one true God. They are destroying their relationship with the person who they claim they loved and respected and all of this. And they're also destroying the relationship they're having with the children, because over time, children will piece together everything and realize that their lives could have been much better had daddy or mommy's head been in the family and not outside the family. So I just once again want to let you all know that, yeah, I feel you. I mean, on Valentine's Day, I had a sick feeling in my stomach and a deep sadness. And I said that, what is this all about? And I realized that some folks are going through so much. And I'll tell you that for me, I reflected on a past that, just had a lot of hurt during the month of February, because you end one relationship, then you get involved with another, and it just becomes a cycle of pain because there's so much that rides on Valentine's Day for so many people. And there's so many memories of being hurt, either near the holiday or after the holiday. And so we just lift up our hands and we just ask that the Lord take these burdens from us in Jesus' mighty name, and that people will be healed mentally, physically, spiritually, sexually, all the things that have taken place during the month of February as a result of relationships. Lord, we hand those over to you, and we trust that you will just be there for us through these tough times in Jesus' mighty name. And God will do just that. Okay. Um, Thank you once again. Just for hanging in there. I do want to leave you with Hebrews 13:4. Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled, but whoremongers and adulterers God will judge. So I hope that this gives you some solace for those of you all who have been uh, mistreated because of someone's emotional affair. Blessings to you. Please do check the description box for anything that might be of interest. You've been listening to NM Enterprise 7. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment.